you're probably confused. Looking at the calendar like it's Monday. Why I'm looking at Shelby on a Monday? Because the Booker Prize Longlist came out, and then I had a bunch of questions about it because I was excited because James by Percival Everett is on the list, and you know that's my favorite book that I read so far this year, at least one of them. And then I was looking at the rest of the list like, well, how they be picking these books? And I figured you wanted to know that too, so come in here, we're gonna talk about it. Hi friends, welcome back to Shelby in the Book Club. I'm Shelby Monet, and in today's video we're going to talk all things the Booker Prize. The long list was announced on July 30th, I believe. I'll double check that later in the video. And I was super excited to see that James by Percival Everett is longlisted, but then it got me thinking, I don't really know why the Booker Prize or other book awards are so important and so beneficial to authors. And I figured maybe y'all don't know neither, and we can figure it out together. So that's what this video will be about. We'll talk about what is the Booker Prize, how they pick, and we'll talk about some of the books on the long list. Some of them they don't sound interesting to me, but some of them do sound interesting. So we'll get into all of that. If you already are into book awards and you know about the Booker Prize, please let me know down below in the comments. I would love to know what you know, why you're so excited, or any more information about it, because I'm a nerd, you're a nerd, we're all nerds, dude. So before we get started, make sure you like, you comment, you share, and you subscribe. We are, at the time that I'm filming this, at 8,100 subscribers. I am just totally amazed. Like, thank you. Thank you. I love y'all. I'm so excited that we're growing our family, and obviously I need to sit back and like readjust my goals, because I was like playing it safe with that 5,000 apparently. So I can't wait to see where we'll be by the end of the year. Again, thank you, and let's get into it for real this time. Okay, you guys already know I got our favorite homegirl, the mini girl here, where I will be reading some things off of about the Booker Prize, about the books, about the authors. I will link the books mentioned down below. I will put as many things on the screen as I can for you. Y'all already know how this go. Somebody in one of my most recent videos had put in the comments like, oh, the lists are here. I was like, is you saying I talk too much? Is that what you're saying? I was a little offended. Y'all watch YouTube videos because you like to listen to people talk. Gosh darn it. I didn't say, I'm not thinking gosh darn it. I'm saying other words, but you know. Anyway, so about the Booker Prize. The Booker Prize is a leading literary award in the English-speaking world and has brought recognition, reward, and readership to outstanding fiction for over 5 decades. That's a long time. Each year, the prize is awarded to what is, in the opinion of the judges, the best sustained work of fiction written in English and published in the UK and Ireland. It is a prize that transforms the winner's career. The winner receives £50,000 as well as £2,500 awarded to each of the 6 shortlisted authors. Both the winner and the shortlisted authors are guaranteed a global readership and can expect a dramatic increase in book sales. I love that, especially because some of the books on the long list this year, it says their debut, which I think is really cool. So for it to be a debut, their first traditionally published novel probably, or just their first published anything, they get this readership. I think that is very, very cool. So it says the long list was announced July 20th, 24. Jesus Christ. July 30th, 2024. So it says the long list of 13 books, the Booker Dozen, has been chosen by the 2024 judging panel. The panel is chaired by artist and author Edmond DeWall, who is joined by award-winning novelist Sarah Collins, fiction editor of The Garden, Justine Jordan, The Guardian, excuse me. World-renowned writer and professor Yi-Yoon Lee, and musician, composer, and producer Nitin Sawhney. It features Black Week comic, page turners, multi-generational epics, mediations on the pain of exile, meditation, excuse me, plus a crime capper, a spy thriller, and an unflinching account of a girl's boxing, and a reimagining of a 19th century classic. When I looked at the books originally, when I looked at the list originally, the two that stood out the most to me were Wandering Stars and James. The rest of these didn't really stand out to me. So it also says here, the judges' selection was made of 156 books published between the 1st of October 2023 and 30th of September 2024. Now that is a little weird to me, because I know that the judges are picking, but I feel like it should be like a shorter time span, because, well, I mean, I guess maybe not. I guess maybe I'm overthinking it as someone that, like, I would want for all of these books to be available for someone like me that, like, wants to see, like, what all the hype is about, or why judges may have picked them. I kind of want to just be able to go and buy the books, right? So it being September, some of these come out in September. That's a little to me, but whatever. Who are me? The Booker Prize is open to works of long-form fiction by writers of any nationality, written in English and published in the UK and or Ireland. The short list of 6 books will be announced on Monday, September 16th, during an evening celebration in the Portico Rooms at the Somerset House in London. The shortlisted authors will receive the £2,500 in a specially bound edition of their book. I think that's really cool. The announcement of the winner of the Booker Prize 2024 will take place at a ceremony and dinner held at the Old Billingsgate in London on Tuesday, November 12th. How do I get invited? Could y'all come get me? Thank you. Appreciate you. The winning author will receive £50,000 and can expect international recognition, yada, yada, yada. Okay, the judges' selection includes... I guess my dog has something to say. Jesus Christ. Strong new voices. 8 women and 5 men. The first nomination for the Pan Macmillan imprint mantle, and 4 nominations for the Jonathan Cape. I have to look those up. Works of fiction that inhibit ideas by making us care deeply about people and their predicaments, according to the chair of judges, Edmund DeWall, who adds that these are works that have made a space in our hearts, and that we want to see find a place in the reading lives of many others. Okay, I mean, I guess. So, in no particular order, we are going to start with Wandering Stars. This is by Tommy Orange. You guys may remember Tommy Orange. He has another book called They're There that I believe came out last year. It was either last year or 2022. I'll put the book on the screen. So They're There is his debut that is raved about. I have not read They're There or Wandering Star, but I would like to read them both. So it says, Wandering Star is a tender, shattering story of generations of a Native American family struggling to find ways through displacement, addiction, and pain towards home and hope. I've heard wonderful things about this book. I've heard wonderful things about They're There as well, and I believe I think from my understanding, what I've seen about both books, they go together. Maybe not necessarily a series, but like sister books in a way, I think. Correct me down below in the comments if necessary. Next, we have Wild Houses, which is by Colin Barrett. It says, a story of 2 outsiders striving to find themselves as their worlds collapse in chaos and violence. Wild Horses is the first novel from award-winning writer Colin Barrett. So it says, as Belina prepares for its biggest weekend of the year. The simmering feud between small-time dealer Cillian English and County Mayo's fraternal enforcers Gabe and Sketch for Diaz spills over into violence and an ugly ultimatum. Okay, this sounds interesting. I like drama. I like a good mess. When the reclusive Deb answers his door on Friday night, he finds that Doll, Cillian's teenage brother, in the clutches of Gabe and Sketch. Ooh, jostled by his nefarious cousins and goaded by his dead mother's dog. Now, wait a minute. Deb is drawn headlong into Ferdia's revenge fantasy. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Nikki can't shake the feeling that something bad has happened to her boyfriend, Doll. I may have spoke too soon. This one, when I first glanced at the synopsis for this, when I saw this on the list and I like glanced at it, I was like, that don't seem like my kind of carrying on. That seemed like my kind of carrying on. I might have to add that to my list. Next, we have Held by Anne Michaels. In a narrative that spans 4 generations, my kind of carrying on, moments of connection and consequence ignite and reignite as the century unfolds. 1917, on a battlefield near the River Escott, John lies in the aftermath of a blast, unable to move or feel his legs, struggling to focus his thoughts. He is lost to memory. A chance encounter in a pub, by a railway, a hot bath with his lover on a winter night, his childhood on a faraway coast as the snow falls. 1920, John has returned from war in North Yorkshire, near another river, alive but not still whole. Reunited with Helena, an artist, he reopens his photography business and endeavors to keep on living, but the past erupts instantly into the present as ghosts begin to surface in his pictures. Ghosts whose messages he cannot understand. Okay, see, now, you can't judge a book by its cover, and I guess we can't judge a list by the cover either, because that one I was just like, whatever. I didn't. Okay, now I take back what I said altogether. Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner. A woman is caught in the crossfire between the past and the future in this part spy novel, part profound treatise on human history. Sadie Smith, a 34-year-old American undercover agent of ruthless tactics, bold opinions, and clean beauty, is sent by her mysterious but powerful employers to a remote corner of France. Her mission to infiltrate a commune of radical eco-activists led by a charismatic, I can read, I do it for fun, Svengali. What is that word? Let's Google it. Look up. Is a character in a novel, Tribly, which was first published by George. Okay, so it's a fictional character, a person who exercises a controlling or mesmeric influence on another. Thank you. And I pronounced it correctly. Svengali. Bruno Lacombe. Sadie cast her cynical eye over this region of ancient forms and sleepy villages, and at first finds Bruno's idealism laughable. He lives in a Neanderthal cave and believes the path to enlightenment is a return to primitivism. But just as Sadie is certain she's the seductress and puppet master of those she surveils, Bruno is seducing her with his ingenious counter histories, his artful laments. I can read his own tragic story. A work of high art, high comedy, and irresistible pleasure from the author of the Booker Prize nominated The Mars Room. Interesting. That was Creation Lake. Okay, The Strange Eventful History by Claire Massoud. The Strange Eventful History charts the Khazars' unfolding story in a work of breathtaking historical sweep and vivid psychological intimacy. June 1940s. I'm sensing a pattern here where everything is a bit historical fiction, which is interesting. June 1940, as Paris falls to the Germans, Gaston Khazar, honorable servant of France, devoted husband and father, currently posted as naval attaché in Salonika. Baby, I'm sure that ain't how you say neither one of them words. Ciao, boo. Let's look it up. No, I did say attaché correctly. A person on the staff of an ambassador. I can read. And then, how do we pronounce this one?
Salonika.
Salonika, I did say that right. Bids farewell to his beloved wife, aunt, and children, placing his faith in God and that they will be reunited after the war, but escaping the violence of that cataclysm is not the same as emerging unscathed. The family will never again be whole. As the Khazars move from Salonika and Algeria to US, Cuba, Canada, Argentina, Australia, and France, their itinerary is shaped as much by a search for an elusive wholeness as by the imperatives of politics, faith, family, industry, and desire. That sounds interesting. Playground by Richard Powers. Now, Richard Powers, his name sounds familiar. Not sure why. But it sounds familiar. So this one says, Playground explores that last wild place we have yet to colonize and interweaves profound themes of technology and the environment and a deep exploration of our shared humanity. Rafi and Todd are two polar opposites at an elite high school where they bond over 3,000-year-old board game. Chess? I don't know how old chess is. Please, I'm just assuming. Elsewhere, Evie sinks to the bottom of a swimming pool in Montreal, strapped to one of the world's first aqualungs. Ina grows up in naval bases across the Pacific with art as her only home. All of these people meet on a history-scarred island of Makatia in French Polynesia, marked for humanity's next great adventure, a plan to send floating autonomous cities out into the open sea. Huh? I don't think I'm smart enough for that one. Okay. I'm curious. I'm assuming this is sci-fi. He's an American author. Okay. His name looks familiar because he wrote Bewilderment, which is another popular book that I'm gonna have to look into. This sounds interesting. I wonder, have y'all read anything by him? Please let me know. Okay, next up we have Enlightenment by Sarah Perry. I've seen this book everywhere. A story of love and astronomy told over the course of 20 years through the lives of two improbable best friends. Thomas Hart and Grace Macaulay have lived all their lives in the small Essex town of Adderley. Though separated in age by 3 decades, the pair are kindred spirits, torn between their commitment to religion and their desire to explore the world beyond their small Baptist community. But their friendship is threatened by the arrival of love. Thomas falls for James Bauer, who runs the local museum. Together they develop an obsession with the vanished 19th century astronomer Maria Vaduva. Said to haunt a nearby manor. Why? You know, that's my problem. with y'all, because every time something go missing and a ghost is haunting something, y'all always want to go in there and bother the ghost. It's already haunting. Leave it alone. Why is you bothering it? It's not bothering you. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe they be in there knocking stuff down and flicking your lights and stuff and moving past your eyes real quick. So what? Say hi and go on about your business. Here, worrying my nerves. But anyway, said to haunt a nearby manor who may have made startling astronomical discoveries that have never been acknowledged. Meanwhile, Grace meets Nathan, a fellow sixth former who represents a different, wilder kind of life. They are drawn passionately together, but quickly pulled apart when casting Grace into a wider world and far away from Thomas. Over the course of 20 years, by coincidence in design, Thomas and Grace will find their lives brought back into orbit as a devastating story of love and scientific pursuit folds and the mysteries of Adelaide are revealed. This sounds interesting. Sounds very interesting. Doesn't sound like something that I would usually pick up. But I am curious. Next up, we have Orbital by Samantha Harvey. 6 astronauts rotate in the International Space Station. They are there to do vital work, but slowly they begin to wonder, what is life without Earth? What is Earth without humanity? Yeah, I'm not smart enough to read this one either. She has one other book called The Wilderness. This sounds like something that would send me into a I would have to go sit on the lady's couch to get through this. No thank you. But I have heard good things about Orbital. She ain't fixing to stress me out. I'm gonna leave James for last. So next we have The Safe Keep by Yael van der Wooden. An exhilarating tale of twisted desires, histories, and homes, and the legacy of one of the 20th century's greatest tragedies. It's 15 years since the Second World War, and the rural Dutch province of, let's see how we pronounce it. We're not gonna,
Overijssel.
Overijssel. Okay, the Dutch province of Overijssel is quiet. Bomb craters have been filled, buildings reconstructed, and the conflict is well and truly over. Living alone in her late mother's country home, Isabel's life is as it should be, led by routine and discipline. But all is upended when her brother Louis delivers his graceless new girlfriend Eva at Isabella's doorstep as a guest there to stay for a season. Eva is Isabella's antithesis. She sleeps late, wakes late, walks loudly through the house, and touches things she shouldn't. In response, Isabella develops a fury-fueled obsession, and when things start disappearing around the house, her suspicions spiral out of control. In the sweltering heat of summer, Isabella's desperate desire for order transforms into infatuation, leading to a discovery that unravels all she has ever known. The war might not be well and truly over after all, and neither Eva nor the house are what they seem. I want to read this. It sounds like she is going to be forced to Isabella is going to be forced to self-discover, right? And sometimes life does that to you, and I enjoy stories like that. Like, hopefully that is written in a way that I can get through it quickly. Now, this next one I am really, really, really interested in, but it's big, and y'all know how I feel about big books. I get a little nervous. I get a little shaky. I feel like I'm not a real reader. So it says, an intensely moving novel about 3 friends living in political exile in the emotional homeland that friendship can provide. Khalid and Mustafa meet at university in Edinburgh. 2 Libyan 18-year-olds expecting to return home after their studies. In a moment of recklessness and courage, they traveled to London to join a demonstration in front of the Libyan embassy. When the government officials opened fire on protesters in broad daylight, both friends are wounded and their lives forever changed. Over the years that follow, Khalid, Mustafa, and their friend Hassam, a writer, are bound together by their shared history. If friendship is a space to inhabit, theirs becomes small and inhospitable when a revolution in Libya forces them to choose between the lives they have created in London and the lives they left behind. I love a good saga. I really do. I love a good saga. Next, Stoneyard Devotional. I really like this UK cover. I like it a lot. One thing I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, about the range between the dates of when the books are published, I forget that some books are released sooner in the UK. Like, they have different publishing schedules from the US, the UK, and Ireland. So that could be a thing too. So, Stoneyard Devotional. The past comes knocking in Charlotte Wood's fearless exploration of forgiveness, grief, and female friendship. Oh, baby, this probably 100 pages, because when I tell you ain't nothing more difficult than female friendship, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But, baby, when I tell you getting there is hard. It's hard, okay? Burnt out and in need of retreat, a middle-aged woman leaves Sydney to return to the place she grew up, taking refuge in a small religious community hidden away on the stark plains of the Australian outback. She doesn't believe in God or know what prayer is, and finds herself living a strange reclusive existence almost by accident. But I don't know how to say this word either. Hold on, let's look it up. Do. That ain't what I meant to do. Disquiet. Okay, I didn't know. It seemed like that was too obvious. Don't make fun of me. But disquiet interrupts the secluded life with 3 visitations. First comes a terrible mouse plague. Oh, baby, that would have sent me on to glory. Each day signaling a new battle against the rising infestation. On to glory. You hear? Right with my ancestors. Second is the return of the skeletal remains of a sister who disappeared decades before, presumed murder. Oh, baby, no. Oh, y'all got to carry on with that. And finally, a troubling visitor plunges the narrator further back into her past. Baby, I hope she figure out who God is. I guess I'm gonna have to read it to figure out if she figure out who God is, and figure out how to situate all of this. Next, we have Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle. It is funny that her last name is Bullwinkle. Funny, propulsive, obsessive, and ecstatic. Headshot is equal parts subtle and intense, as it brings us to the sidelines of the boxing ring, and above and beyond it. Headshot is a story of the 8 best teenage boxers in the United States, told over 2 days of a championship tournament in Nevada, and structured as a series of face-offs. As the girls' past and futures collide, the specific joy and violence of the sport comes to life with electric energy, and a portrait emerges of the desire, envy, perfectionism, madness, and sheer physical pleasure that motivates each of these young women to fight. That sounds very interesting. I think I went into this with an idea of what I wanted to read, and then reading these out to you guys made me realize that I kind of want to read more of them than I thought I wanted to. Now, for one of my favorite books that I can safely say that I have ever read, like this, James by Percival Everett is high up on my list with Beloved. It is high up there with Their Eyes Were Watching God, with 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, with what are some of my other favorites, with Parish by Latoya Watkins, with all of Jesmyn Ward's books. He is up there high on my top List. Okay. This was my first work of Percival Everett's, and it is a retelling of Huck Finn. Now, when I saw that there was a retelling of Huck Finn, that got me really excited because I absolutely despised reading Huck Finn when I was a kid. And I know what you're saying, Shelby, why are you excited about a retelling of something that you hated? Because maybe this time I could get it, right? And I did spend some time earlier this year, before I read this, revisiting Huck Finn, right? And kind of getting an idea of what it felt like to read Mark Twain again. And it's so different reading now when I feel like I'm such a better reader than I was before, right? And I think being a better reader just comes with making the effort, reading more outside of your comfort zone, challenging your thought processes, so on and so forth. So it was so good, it made me aggressive. I want to hug this man. He is so elusive to me, but still so like... So we follow James, who is the, if you remember from Huck Finn, the slave in Huck Finn, right? And this story follows basically the same story as Huckleberry Finn, but from James's perspective, with a conversation about fluency and literacy, right? With the importance of language, specifically in the Black community, and how code switching is not something that we have invented today, right? When a Black person goes into, or not just a Black person, but people of color go into corporate America, when we go into rooms where no one looks like us, we have to assimilate, right? And we do that, why? For our safety. And sometimes it doesn't always work. This book is proof of that, right? And what it may feel like to have to do those things. There is a phenomenal twist in this book that makes the story of Huck Finn so much better. And I think I've seen a lot of commentary about James that it was very racist, right? Where people were just like, why would he do this? And why would he change that? And a slave would never have certain types of thoughts. There are a lot of elements of dreaming in this book, right? A slave wouldn't have those kinds of thoughts and blah, 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 but they did. There is proof in that in our history, and all of the things that are said to have been created by white people, but actually were created by Black people. There is conversation to be had here, right? I think the twist is an ode to the social commentary that Mark Twain was making. And I think that is amazing. We ain't even talked about writing style, right? Reading this, it was like he saw what Mark Twain was doing and was able to make it his own. That is how you do a retelling, right? Where you keep the same elements, but you make it your own. It didn't feel like I was just reading Mark Twain over and over again. I was in a new world that felt the same, right? It just was so good. It was so good. Like, it was so good. It was so good. I don't understand when I'm seeing people not enjoying this. And I think the reason why some people are not, like, although I don't understand, I think the reason why some people are not enjoying this is because they don't understand it. They don't understand. They don't understand the idea of a slave dreaming about French authors, right? Or European authors, and dreaming about literature, right? They don't understand. And I'm telling you right now that this book is not for everybody. You may read this and you won't get the emotion that I got out of this, and that is okay. Everything ain't for everybody, but I try anyway, said the great Jill Scott. She is great. That song is very trifling. Anyway, I see why this was longlisted. Now, I'm asking you nicely, if you are in the UK and you love me, can you send me? Can you just send to my... Like, can you mail me or send me a link where I can buy it myself, the UK version, because it's orange? I'll put it on the screen. It's orange. And I don't know if you know, but somebody that lives in my household really, really likes orange, and that is my mom. And I would just like to have one of my favorite books in a color that represents my mama. The two kind of go together a little bit. Not really. I just want it. Okay? All right. Thanks. So yeah, I will be getting a few of the books off this list. This video is way longer than I anticipated. If you made it to the end, please let me know what books off of this list you would like me to review or talk about, or if maybe you want one of them to be a book club pick. Leave your comments down below. Let me know. Thank you for watching. If no one has told you today, you are kind, you are smart, you are important. If to no one else, to me, I love you. Bye, friends. Cousin, hi, it's my face, right fast. I just wanted to come and tell you that all of the covers are UK covers. Okay? So when you click the links in the bio to get any copies that you would like to get, the covers are going to be different. My bad. I'm not doing it. I'm not starting this over. Love you. Okay, bye.